and I are kind of both right here. So Brady threw 47 touchdowns entering the Super Bowl this year, right? So it is the most this season since that 2007 run. But when you're saying the 50 was just the regular season, and we're trying to get the number of the exact touchdowns it was entering the Super Bowl. Oh, what is it? Okay, I'm just told it's 55. So it's 47 to 55. So I'm going to say we're both right.
Right, you were
Max,
including the playoffs.
Talk to me.
I wasn't even thinking.
Or you could just say Max was right since I said I think you were including the playoffs.
Well, Max, you're
Right.
well, first of all, let's be clear. Let's remind the audience, Max is always right because Max takes 10 different sides. So you're always right. You're never wrong.
Okay.
You're never wrong.
Yeah.
Of course you're not wrong.
I just go.
You hedge your bets better than gamblers do.
Anyway.
Yeah, and now he's Team Brady.
There's no hedging. I just changed my opinion based on the facts. Now, let's get this is Stephen A's argument. Stephen A, you can correct me if I'm you can correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying I'm analyzing Brady's most impressive season up to the same point in the season. Let's compare apples to apples. So he's entering the Super Bowl. Let me see all his seasons up to entering the Super Bowl and compare him to this one, right? Okay. So then you're looking at 07 and saying, well, that's the best he ever was, so that's the most impressive. What I would say you're ignoring, even though he hasn't won the Super Bowl yet, he hasn't played it. Maybe he loses, and maybe he loses badly to Mahomes. That's totally possible. What I'm saying is, given his age, Stephen A., given the fact that he's on a brand new team, even if it's loaded, in a COVID season where he couldn't really practice with them and get to know them, given the fact he's going from Belichick, who's the best ever, to Arians, who's good, but he has to get used to, and given the slate of games all on the road, Washington had a really good defense, the Saints beat him twice, Drew Brees in his last game, and then Aaron Rodgers MVP at Lambeau. You know, in both cases with Brees and Rodgers, comes down to the end of the game, the other guy messes up, not Tom Brady. I'm saying even if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, this is the most impressive. When you add on top of all that, he is 43 years old. Stephen A., when LeBron was 28, he was let's take it up to the point he was about to win the championship. He was trying to go back to back. He had a monster year. He was great in the playoffs, playing both ends of the floor. He was 28. Last year, he was 35 and won the championship. Even had he lost close, what's more impressive? Muhammad Ali, when he was 22, beat Sonny Liston, big underdog. He was in his prime, fast as lightning. When he was 32, he beat George Foreman. The fight was much closer and tougher before he knocked Foreman out. Before he knocked Foreman out. But given his age, it was a more impressive accomplishment. That's what I'm saying. You have to look at all the circumstances and say not who's best. The 07 Patriots were better. What's more impressive? This Super Bowl run.
No, we don't. You do. Because you were the one bringing up cliffs that turned into ravines. That would be you. We didn't do that. Molly didn't do it. I didn't do it. Ryan Clark didn't do it. Swagoo didn't do it. Dan Orlovsky didn't do it. Nobody did it. You did it.
Sure.
That's why you have to take that position. We don't have to.
He's Patriot Hater of the Year or something. He got an award.
We can pay attention to hold on, Molly.
Right.
We can pay attention to 2007. We could sit up there and say, you have to do it because you were the one that wrote his epitaph. You were the one who eulogized him. You were the one that sat up there and said he was done 4 years ago, then 3 years ago, then 2 years ago, even 1 year ago. That was you. We didn't do that. We saw what he had been doing. And we also saw what he wasn't doing. And we didn't attribute it to age and attrition. We just said, yo, he needs to do this or that better. But in 2007, it's 50 touchdowns. It's just 8 interceptions. It's an undefeated record in the regular season through the postseason, okay? A 117 quarterback rating. The #1 offense in yards and points and passing yards. This brother was doing it. And the word impressive comes from the standpoint that we looked at the New England Patriots and we assumed they were absolutely untouchable. If this was 2 weeks from now and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the Super Bowl champions, you would have a point. They haven't won the Super Bowl yet, which puts them right where the 2017 was heading to the Super Bowl, except they were unblemished and blemishes were all over Tampa Bay this year.
Two things. Number one, that's right. I was the one writing his epitaph, writing his eulogy, all that stuff. Therefore, I'm really the only one in a position to explain how impressive the accomplishment is, since the rest of the world seemed to take it for granted, which is not the right position. In fact, you're right. You're actually pointing out something that's true. People shouldn't be hypocritical and be wowed by this now if you all expected it. I'm actually amazed because it's historically unprecedented. That's number one. Number two.
So we need to listen to you because you've been wrong for 4 years.
We
need to listen to you because you've been wrong for 4 years.
What you're trying to do is cut off what we know about in the past. Take less information to prove your argument. The fact of the matter is, not just up until the Super Bowl, we have all the information from 07. They lost the Super Bowl. They were supposed to be the greatest team of all time. They lost the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady was outplayed with the money on the line in the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, we have that information now. What I'm saying is this: knowing all that, it doesn't matter what happens in this Super Bowl. The fact that he even got there at this age with a new team, with the slate of games and quarterbacks he had to face on the road, makes this the most impressive run to the Super Bowl he's had.
We're going to finish this with Ryan Clark later.
I'll end it by saying this. Max Kellerman is telling the American public, because all of us were right and he was wrong the last 4 years, that he is the authority on Tom Brady because he was wrong the last 4 years. Now, what kind of damn sense does that make? That doesn't make any sense.
Hold up, Stephen A.
Oh my God.
I'm going to end it with this. If anybody at home, I'm here to help you out. If anybody at home finds themselves in a compromising situation, hire Kellerman and Associates, because this man is the ultimate spin master. Max, you are unbelievable how you spin things to even win in this argument.
You'll end up in behind bars for life with Max representing you. You'll lose every time.
All right, let's go. Let's go to break. We'll talk about this with Ryan later. Maybe he'll talk some sense into all of us. What did Aaron Rodgers say yesterday that has Stephen A. critical of that bad man? Stephen A., he's the love of your life. What? Ryan Clark will be here. Don't go anywhere.
But one opponent ignores the odds and continues to be Father Time's toughest test.
Let's go! To be at this age,
Brady has come back with a vengeance.
physically, are you still able to execute your job?
Perfect throw from Brady.
I'm very fortunate to still be able